Welcome to the DadBodBible Real Men Talk. This is episode 2, and today I'm with a long-time friend and my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor from Australia, Paulo Guimaraes. I don't know how many times he's won the Brazilian World Championship, but it's more than once. And yeah, what belt, what dan are you now, Paulo?
What else? Sorry, are you good?
What dan are you? You're what dan? Black belt? Fourth dan? Fifth dan?
Fifth, yeah.
So how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu now?
I started in 82, so it's long time.
82.
38 years.
My God, I was only 5.
I was almost there.
And where, but you're from Sao Paulo, aren't you? Is it Sao Paulo?
No, I'm from Rio. I'm from Rio. Actually, I was born in the North Brazil, but I moved. My parents moved to Rio when I was 6 months. Then I was in Rio most of my life.
And then give me a bit of background about yourself, because like I know you, but the viewers won't. So what started you out? What made you start jiu-jitsu? Just because you were Brazilian and it's what was done, or?
Well, in Brazil, kids normally, when you are a kid and you like 4, 5, 6 years old, your parents put it. It used to be like that, but I think it's still going. If you are a girl, you go to do ballet. If you are a boy, you do judo, right? So, and then swimming. So he used to do. Me and my brother used to do judo and swimming since we were 6, and then we moved suburbs. We moved from Ipanema to Barra. That's the 2 different suburbs. And when we moved to Barra, Barra was at that time was very, very beginning of the suburb, was a new suburb, and we live in a condominium, a closed condominium. In Brazil, we have lots of closed condominiums. They have the all around. So we have all the things inside. There's a club. There's like a little town inside the condominium because of security, right? So, and the kids can walk around freely and ride the bikes and everything. And then my mother, there was a pool. There was a club with a swimming pool. But then she saw some people with gis wearing kimonos and said, "Oh, that's judo," and put me there. But it was not judo, it was jiu-jitsu. So then I started jiu-jitsu by coincidence.
A mistake. So you weren't even meant to be doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So then the guy who was teaching there actually was Flavio Bering. He was a direct student of Gracie. Was one of the first Gracie students, and the Bering family. That's a very famous family there too. And then I started training, and then just keep going. So then in that condominium was close to the beach, so I started surfing as well. So all together, and then jiu-jitsu at that time was just something that you do for sport. Nobody thought about. Was not out of Brazil, so nobody thought about, okay, I'm going to make a jiu-jitsu career, or I'm going to be a jiu-jitsu teacher or something. Just train because like kids need it, and in Brazil we need it because that's when you get a teenager, you go out or something. There is fights, there is people mugging you, there is no trouble. So if you don't do it, you are in trouble. So you have to learn how to defend yourself. I think that was the main idea of my mother. Just put us there as other mothers, because you learn self-defense. And
who's your instructor then?
When I started was Flavio Bering. That's now he's a red belt from one of the highest belts. He's about 80, almost 90 years old. But then his son Marcelo Bering and Silvio Bering took over after some years. Then I stayed training with them. Marcelo Bering came to Australia in 85, I think. Went around the world challenging people. So when he left, the gym divided, and then I started.
Sorry, he went around the world challenging.
Yes.
No way. Was that legit? I know the Gracie's done that, but did your instructor actually travel the world just walking into jiu-jitsu clubs or martial art clubs and challenging?
No. There was no much jiu-jitsu at the time. UFC started in '93, to imagine. So all the Gracies is still in Brazil, and Marcelo was a surfer too. So he came to Indonesia to surf. And from Indonesia, he came to Australia and launched a challenge like Ellie Gracie used to do the challenge, remember? In the 1930s, 40s, 50s, they used to put the bigger page on the newspaper and written like, you think you are tough? So we pay you, let's say, $50,000 if you beat us, Gracie brothers. And any size, any martial arts, any background, no time limit, no rules, no gloves. And the guys used to come for the Gracies, and the Gracies used to bash them. So that's when Jiu-Jitsu became famous in Brazil, right? That's when they took over the other gyms and took over the other martial arts. And Marcelo did the same. He came to Indonesia to suffer for Frank, and came to Australia and put a challenge in the newspaper. And then he got a guy here to sponsor and put like a challenge. I fight you anytime, anyone, any size, any weight for until the end. Like until someone give up, of course, not until death, but until someone give up for for $50,000. And then the challenge was on, and one guy came. He was telling us the story after. One guy came, and they went to for a dinner. Him, the guy, and the sponsor, just to set up the rules and organize everything. And the guy was John Will. John Will is the guy who brought Jiu-Jitsu to Australia after this. So what happened was John Will met Marcelo, and Marcelo said, "Okay, we fight till to the end." And John Will was black belt in all the martial arts, right? And then John Will got out from the dinner and went to research about Marcelo, because at the time was 85, there was no internet. So he went to research and, I don't know, make some calls and stuff for American guys. And he found out that Marcelo was the #1 student of Rickson, right? And
he's like, oh.
And then he researched about Rickson, and he found out that Rickson was the best guy, the most dangerous guy ever, you know. And then he gave up. And then he gave up the challenge, and he didn't fight Marcelo. But what happened was that was interesting. He went to Brazil to find out about Jiu-Jitsu. And then he went to Brazil. He went to Carlos Gracie school, and then started training and met the Machado brothers. That's Gracie cousins. And the Machado lived in America. So since then, he started training with the guys every year, go 1 or 2 times to America. And then he learned a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu. He got a blue belt or something, and he opened the first gym in Australia. So he was the guy who brought Jiu-Jitsu to Australia, but because of Marcelo. You know?
It's brilliant. It's like, for me, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like, it's made me so many friends. It's brought me to like Australia, like kept me in Australia. Luke and myself still talk to each other all the time. You know, I've made lifelong friends. I talked to loads of the boys and girls from Roots that I hung about in Australia, Dave O'Brien, and I would met Philip and Gordo, and it's definitely, there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, of all the martial arts I've done, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has definitely got the most family feel, and you know, like there's a belonging in Jiu-Jitsu, like when you're part of the club, and it was something that you're very strong in it. You know, it was like Roots is family, and you know, you never turned your back on your family. And that's what I think. I think that's why I found myself so drawn to you, because your philosophies behind what you were thinking was very much in tune with what I was. I can remember every time we would line up at the end of the class, and you would just go on one of your rants, and everyone would be going, "What the fuck?" And I'd just be in stitches, because your head, the way it thinks, is exactly like my head thinks. You just go on these rants. And I think it was one of my favorite parts, because you would just go on for 10 minutes and we'd be standing there in the swelter and heat, and you'd just be talking about something. And I'd be in my head, I was laughing my balls off. And then you would see me laughing, you'd go, "Paul, give me 10 push-ups. Stop you laughing." And I have got so many fond memories of the Hakoa Club and Roots Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the people we met there. It's just, I think for me, Jiu-Jitsu is something that every human being should do. It's something that every person should do, because it shows you, it teaches you discipline. It teaches you that you can't, it doesn't come easy. Life, things don't come easy. And Jiu-Jitsu is that sort of way in life. It forces you to just accept that you're not good at something. You're going to get beat up over and over and over again. And that's like childhood, isn't it? Like the white belt is like being a child. You're going to get beat up and beat up and beat up. And then blue belt's like teenager. You think you're there, but then you realize you're not. And then you're the purple belt's in your 20s, and you think you're maybe a bit tougher, but then you've got someone in your 30s who's a brown belt. And then eventually you get to your 40s and 50s, and that's a black belt. And I think Jiu-Jitsu is a very good story for life. And it's something that I think everyone needs to be doing. And it's a shame that in Ireland, it's become massive over the last 10 years. I started back to Jiu-Jitsu 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. No, about 2 years ago. And I walked in, and there was white belts doing shit to me that I had no clue. The evolution of Jiu-Jitsu is just like so insane. And like I'm talking like a 10-year gap for me. So how have you seen, like Jiu-Jitsu went back in 2005 when I was training with you, 2004, 2005. How have you seen it change from then to now? the evolution of it. What do you see of it?
Yeah. That the jiu-jitsu took over the world after. So that's the story. So then Marcelo, just finishing that. Then Marcelo came here, challenged everyone, went back to Brazil, and went to America, and then went back to Brazil. And in that time, I started training with George. That's my master till now, the instructor till now, George Pereira. And Marcelo came back to Brazil, started to train again, but was killed, was murdered. What? And then, yeah. Then he died, and it was a big commotion in the jiu-jitsu world at the time. Rickson was just moved to America in '89, and the Gracies as well. Like they start to do the Gracie stuff. Like they start the Gracie challenge is the same. You can go on the internet and see the Gracie challenge in America. They challenge people in the garage, and they start to grow until '93, when Jorge and Gracie created the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting, and then they did a cage fight, and that was the first UFC. Royce Gracie fought, was the skinnier one, you remember, and beat everyone in the first editions, and then jiu-jitsu is exploded to the world. That was the point where you're talking now. So jiu-jitsu from UFC, everybody know about jiu-jitsu, and then that's it. And then comes to today, and then evolve, and everybody wants to learn. And the Gracie's gyms exploded in America, and everybody started to move out of Brazil to America first, and then to Europe and to Australia. I was the first black belt to arrive in Australia, first Brazilian black belt to arrive and stay in Australia. Some others came before to do seminars, but I'm the first one to leave and open a gym in Australia. That was in 2000. And then that's exactly the point you talk about now, because from then on, from the UFC, in 93, maybe 94, 95 on, jiu-jitsu started to grow like exponentially and took over the world. So today, they have jiu-jitsu everywhere. We have jiu-jitsu in many places in Africa, have jiu-jitsu in the whole Asia, have jiu-jitsu in China, has big investment in jiu-jitsu in China. The Emirates, you see like the Sheikh, you could create the big competition, Abu Dhabi and everything. And that was and now I think that's how jiu-jitsu took over the world, spread out. And Brazilians had a chance to get out from Brazil and start to think about a career. I was already a black belt when I got out. So, I got the first wave out. But nowadays, you see kids in Brazil, you see young people in Brazil training to become world champions, or just training and learning English and learning the language to get out from Brazil because it's a career. In Abu Dhabi now, they have 500 schools with jiu-jitsu in school. They have the whole army with jiu-jitsu in Jordan. They have jiu-jitsu in all the schools and whole army as well, learning jiu-jitsu. So they have, they're massive. In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia just closed a contract some years ago or 2 years ago for the same thing, to get the school jiu-jitsu in school, is jiu-jitsu around. They are more organized like that because there is one guy who organized, like the Sheikh organized and pay good money. So Brazilians that get out from Brazil like Brazilians used to get out just for football. Now they are getting out for jiu-jitsu. So it's one of the biggest things.
Yeah. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, and then the image of UFC in the beginning, and of course was almost no rules fight, so we was aggressive because of the cage and stuff. And even UFC nowadays is when UFC every weekend or every 2 weekends, and people sit in the pub and watch the UFC all around the world, and so it became a normal thing. I remember when I arrived in Australia, I was talking about it was not MMA. It was kind of MMA, but it was beginning of MMA. So it was more no holds barred fight or vale tudo. And people, what's that? Tough man fight? No, tough man fight is different. This is the guys fight. The two martial artists fight. To prove who was the best art at the time. Then became mixed martial arts. Now the guy does everything. One guy does all the martial arts to beat the other athlete. And then people didn't understand what it was. I did a show here, Hexagon, in 2007. It was 4 events, and it was a cage. We built a cage here. But you see, UFC was in 93. America and everywhere, most of the countries knew it. But here they didn't have idea what it was. So there was no legislation about it. So what happened was in 2007, I built a cage and I did four events, elimination rounds, like the first UFCs, of course, with gloves, a little bit more rules. But I put in 4 places. It was one every 2 months during the year. And I put 2 times. I put in the NIDA. NIDA is the national theater here, where Nicole Kidman came from, where Russell Crowe came from. So it's the top theater, like a training, national, whatever, they form actors and stuff. And then they have a stage there, and you put a cage on the stage, and the theater will sell the tickets, and they didn't know what it was. Once
I can just see those people's faces. What the fuck is going on here?
Then yeah, we just had a place, and we're gonna make an event, a fighting event. Okay, no problem. And then you put the cage, and then you put in the full crowd, like fighters, you know, like people who like fights and everything advertised, put the people in, and the guys start to fight each other. And then the next day, I have the newspaper full page on the sports part of the Sydney Morning Herald. Bad bluff in neither theater. Bloodbath in neither theater. And then the report goes, and a photo of a guy punched the other guy in the face. The most iconic theater in Australia now had a gladiator style fight with blood and people screaming and no shirts and so it was full on. Everybody, what the fuck? So that was the beginning kind of match. Huh?
What year was that? When was that? What year?
This was 2007.
2007. No, I'd left by that stage.
Yeah, 2007, 2008. And then, okay, the people, then they couldn't do anything about it because there was no legislation on it. It was not legal, but it was not illegal because it never happened, right? And then we did 3 more, and that was like big, people, what's going on, cage fighting? Because UFC was not on TV here yet. UFC came to TV here, I think in 2000. Then what happened was in 2009, the UFC went to do first UFC in Australia, right? And then they tried to get in, but there was no legislation on it. So the government couldn't allow or disallow. They didn't have legislation. So the Minister of Sports of New South Wales called me. His officer called me. Oh, is this Paulo Guimaraes? Yeah. Oh, we are from the sports minister office here, and you have to help us, man. What's going on? UFC wants to come to Australia, wants to make their first show in Sydney, and we don't know any shit about it. We don't know nothing about it. I like rules and stuff. Can you please, for the love of God, can you send us lots of information? How does it work? What's the rules? What's this? Because the press is going crazy on us, and we have to have an answer for the press to allow UFC to come to Australia. I said, okay, so I'm going to send all the rules and all the how it works and what's about and everything. Oh, please send to us. And I sent to them all the information they could. And then they could approve, that they made the legislation, could approve, and UFC came to Australia. So that was the first UFC in Australia. And since then, they started to pass on TV. So then the image of let's say, cage fighting is much more diluted, so everybody understands, everybody agrees. And then comes the point. Then Jiu-Jitsu became much more famous here as well, like happened in America before. And also about the subject you were talking about, I think the last 4 years, it came to the kids side. Because before it was just an adult sport with now like martial arts stuff. And we had competitions here since 2001. You remember the competitions used to be here, right? Yeah. The federation kept going.
I got silver the first time I competed against you. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like, I'm years. You were like, yeah, I can actually remember that I took mount on the guy, and you were like, I just remember the group, and you went, "Hey, Irish, what the fuck's his name?" Like, Irish, stay on mount, move your arm. And I'm just moving my arm, bringing it back, and you'll stay there. I was actually in the final with another Roots guy, and you decided, I can't remember the guy's name, but you decided that that's it. You know, he got the gold and I got the silver because family didn't fight. But I do remember that because I was like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing here. I haven't trained in months and months. But I remember that was pretty good. The competition. That was actually my first time. That was my first time competing in jiu-jitsu. I'd fought MMA, but I'd never competed in jiu-jitsu competition. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I started jiu-jitsu in 2000, and then I'd done jiu-jitsu for about 6 months to a year. And then I met my MMA instructor in that jiu-jitsu club, Davey Patterson, from EFR, or now it's not EFR. It was UFR, it's not EFR. But so I sort of went off the jiu-jitsu end and focused more on OG MMA. But it was when I went to Australia, I found the love of jiu-jitsu, and I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
I always think to myself, I always look now, I see Rich and I see fucking Robert and I see them all, and they're all black belts, and I'm going, I'm still a fucking blue belt. I'm a dick. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, but you did other things. I remember when that time your guy was fighting MMA. Remember? you had a big guy for the MMA who went to the show and he won. Yeah, one
Yeah.
of these fights he won. And also the young boy.
Oh, that's right.
There was a young boy.
That was the time you came over to see me in 2009.
Yeah, I went there 2 times.
That's right. Sean Crow and Joe Clark was fighting those days. That was actually a good show.
Exactly. That was good fights. They won. That's cool. And the big one won the belt. He had the belt already. He just defended the belt. It was good.
The smaller guy that won the fight, that he could have been Conor McGregor.
He would be good. What happened to him? Did it stop? Just stop? They stopped. There's some talented kids that they come in and say, oh, this guy's going to be the next world champion. And then they just do something else and disappear.
Oh, it broke my heart. It still breaks my heart to watch because I think to myself, he had everything accepted up. He just didn't have it. You know, he had everything, all the attributes, but whatever it was, he just didn't have the hunger.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You need to have the hunger in this game.
Yeah, it happens a lot. The boys come with talent and like amazing fight and win and go there and keep going. Then something else take them out, or parties or other things they distract and just disappear. And then what happened was that then after this, and the federation still on. This is the 20th year of the federation now, 2021. We started in 2001. And all these years we've been doing lots of competition. But what happened in the last 4 years that I noticed that the number of kids, and kids, I mean, from 4 years old, that's when they start to compete until 15 or even 13 before 12 before teenagers. Like now it's going like that. It's going up. Every gym has lots of kids. We have, the last 2 years we went from, 30, 40 kids competing to 400.
What?
Yeah. So exactly. So that's the I think that was the effect on the kids, because the first one was the effect on the fighters. The fighters saw jiu-jitsu was very effective to fight, right? So every fighter wants to learn jiu-jitsu because they want to fight on the floor. Then became just after that, when UFC and all these things came, became the appeal also after the fights, it became appeal of normal people. It's a good exercise, is healthy, it's good atmosphere. Like you said, the jiu-jitsu is a family and we all pass this. And also they learn self-defense. Even in a country like Australia, you don't need much self-defense because it's not violent, but they do it. And then with the competition, they have an incentive to keep training to compete. It's fun, like you said. And then after that, now is the last 4 or 5 years, came the kids. So now the kids are leaving karate or taekwondo or this or that because it's striking punches, and doing jiu-jitsu because first is less trouble, at least in Australia, less trouble. Like the kid do not go to school and punch the other kid and have the parents call there, so they can control the other kid and not submit even, because they're the ones that don't teach submission, but they can control the fight and be safe. Second, because a very good sport for coordination, for social, for with the kids. And what you said as well, like a little kid of 4 years old, we have 4 to 6 years old class, and you have to 7 to 12. So the 4 years old gonna see another 4 years old, but they're also gonna deal with the 6 years old that's bigger than him and gonna bash him a little bit.
And in 2 years, that's massive.
Exactly. So he has to deal with that. So we start to, and also contact kids. I don't know. I don't think in Ireland like that, but here you touch the kids. The kids are not used to human touch, because don't touch me, or this or that. The parents are full of fear. People touch each other, give a hug, or like whatever. Like meet a friend. In Brazil, meet a friend, you give a hug. Here, you meet a friend, you shake hands. Oh, shake hands. Stay away. Oh, hello, how are you? Come on, you meet a girl, like not your girlfriend, anybody, but you're in a group, you're gonna say hello to the girls, you give 2 kisses. Like it's already contact. So, and then the kids, I noticed that in the gym, they're not very used to contact because the parents don't allow, So then they start to touch it. Yeah, start to touch, start to control, start to feel. They cry, of course, they cry when they get hurt. Not even hurt, when the other kids squash them a little bit, they cry. Oh, don't cry, keep going. No. And they go run to mommy. No. Stay down here. There's no mommy.
I'm sorry.
Nobody gonna save you.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but you'll laugh at this, right? But see, when I left Australia, and honestly, this is no word of a lie, the amount of times that I've been on my back absolutely fucked. And in my head, for some reason, I can just see you sitting over at the wall in the Hakoa Club going, "Hey, Paul, fucking keep going, get off your back. And I'm like, and even though you're not there, it's 10 years ago, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, if Paulo was here," and I'm sneaking on the side because I just always remember you were just ruthless, absolutely ruthless. I remember you giving me my blue belt, and I knew it was going to happen because you were grappling me. It was my last night. It was my last full night in Australia. And we were grappling and you called me out, after the end of the thing. And it was like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. You made everyone change. And you just went, no, you stay. And I remember Gordo looking over and going, the camera. And Gordo got the camera. And I just remember my heart sinking, going, I'm about to experience a hell that I have never experienced before. And then you took me unconscious, and I can remember coming around and I was talking to my nanny. My nanny had just died about 7 months ago. And I was going, I'm okay. I'm okay. And you looked down and was, hey, Paul, you have a black belt now. And you put your black belt over me. And I was all confused. And then you just jumped on me again. And it was 45 minutes of absolute fucking hell. Sorry for interrupting, but that just brought back, it just brought back that memory.
But that's it. That's it. That's it.
It pushes you. That sort of makes you realize how much more capable you are. Like, I understood that as a blue belt, you were the black belt, you could destroy me at any point, but you just kept me tapering that edge of my ability. And, my mind wanted to quit, and you just would not. And it came to the point where I knew if I quit, you were just going to choke me unconscious anyway. So I had to just keep it. It was like fight for a life. But it taught you how to dig down deep and, find more inside you. And I think that as kids, like what you're saying about the kids, no, get back on the mats. You're not allowed to run to your mummy. It teaches kids that self-discipline, that self-belief that crosses over to life. Absolutely brilliant. We're talking to kids. You've got two now. What age are yours?
They are 8 and 8 turning 9 next week, and 10 turning 11 this year. So 8 and 10 right now.
Yeah. Thor's the oldest, isn't he?
Thor is the youngest one, and Atze is the oldest.
And how are they doing in their competitions?
They're doing good. They've been going. Last year there was no competition, but the competition before, they just go and fight. Some gold, some medals, some silver, some first loss. And that is good because, like I was saying before, like the 4 to 6, you have to on the match. You have to deal. There's nobody to save you, right? You have to deal with whatever happens. Of course, if you get hurt, I stop and take care of you or the kid, whatever. If you break a nose, but if you just not even, but if you
get on the mat.
But just if you are there, when you want to go to mommy because you don't like what I say, or because the other kid like you tap, or because the other kid is holding you down. So there's no mommy. Like, look, you have to survive by yourself. Get up, like the same I did with you when the kid's on the bottom and the other one's on top and the other one's bigger. And you start like in the beginning, the first month or so, they start to let that face to cry, or sometimes they even cry. I said, you can cry, but the cry will not save you. You have to do something, or else be crying there forever. The guy not leave. And the other kid keep looking to me, the kid on top, and said, no, don't leave, stay there. You can cry, but cry not save you. Call your mommy, scream and not save you. You have to get out by yourself. Don't give up. They tap. No tap. There's no submission. You have to get out and let them there for the rest of the fight. And then the next time I said, look, when the fight finished, I said, you have two options. Or you learn how to get out from there, or you don't let the guy get there. Now, you cannot run. And then they start to get in their mind. And then after like 1 month even, they're just a tough little bastards. They tap there. I have an Irish one. Frank.
An Irish kid?
Yeah. Martin, his father, has Frank and Veronica. Veronica's tough. Frank is about the same age as Thor, 8 years old, from the same school. Bro, he won a competition. I took him to a competition in 2019, the first competition. He was doing for 3 months. And when they line up on the end, they say, competitions come, who wants to go? He goes straight, me. I said, I looked to him, you're fucking just doing for 3 months. But okay, Frank is in. So I put the orders and put Frank in. No, he didn't know much what to do, but he was there. He wanted to go, like heart and not crazy one. He has the eyes like that when you go fight. So then I said, okay, Frank time. Okay, Frank, it's like this. If you fall, if you take you down, get out from there, stand up again. And if you fall on top, just hold him down. That's what I have to do. 3 minutes fight for his age. So that's what I have to do. And he went there and fight the first fight, won. Good. Fight the second fight, semi-final, yes. And then he won one. Was three kids in the division, so they do round robin. So the first, if you lose the first fight, you fight the other one who is in the bye, and then there's one goes to the final. So he lost the first fight, and said, Frank is okay, let's go, we have another chance. And then when the second fight, and I'll go harder. Don't let, because the boy took him down the first fight. I said, don't let him take you down. Stay up. If he take you down, push him out. The boy was a bit chubbier than him, a bit bigger, because the same weight, right? Same belt, same weight, same age. The boy came to him, tried to take him down. He defending, controlling, but like defending that scrabbling standing. And then suddenly he managed to go behind the boy standing. And then he grabbed the boy neck on a headlock. It was not even a choke. It was a headlock just like that. And hang there. And they both walking like that. And he behind the boy, hugging, and turning and said, Frank, squeeze it. And he started to Irish, come on, Frank, squeeze it. And he holding the boy, walking around with Frank on his back, walking around with Frank's back. The referee looked to me and I said, just like that, it was not a choke, right? It was just a lock. So let it go. And the other boy, it's sad, but it's funny. The other boy started to cry, standing like this. He couldn't get out. He started to cry. And I said, Frank, don't let it go. And then the referee started to look to me. What do I do now? I said, he has to tap, otherwise it doesn't finish. And the technical director of the competition came to watch. He keep watching. Frank is squeezing like a crazy, like he did it. And like go. And then boy crying. And then the ref stopped. And Frank, yeah, and everybody, yeah. And then he got a
I'm sure in the next 10 years, jiu-jitsu is going to just take off in Australia, especially if you've got so many kids at 4 years old. My God, what are they going to be like at 14? You know, do you ever envision a time when Australia will compete with Brazil and America with the talent pool and the ability?
Man, we have already some. We were the first world champions from Australia. Me, Felipe, Andrew, and Dave. When we went to Brazil in 2003, right? They were blue belts. I was black belt. I can say I'm Australian, but real Australians were them, right? I was competing for Australia at the time. And then we went on the big article in the magazine in Brazil, when first Australians 100% in 100% of success in the World Cup and everything, and we were famous and here and all the magazines here and TVs or whatever, because it was the first time the Jiu-Jitsu got gold medals and was 4 straight now in the World Cup. And next year they went back again. They didn't go that year. That was 2003. 2004 they went by themselves and got second time gold medal again, went in the magazines again. So it was the start of it. And then nowadays we have lots of world champions. So we have this guy Lachlan Gillis, they got third place in Abu Dhabi now. We have other boys around that are getting blue belts, purple belts. Got lots of world champions.
How many world champions? How many world champions has Roots got?
We have 4, 3 of them. The guys, Philip, Andrew, and Dave, were 2 times World Cup champions. Yeah, and then got all the titles around. And I got one for the first year, 2003. And I got in Japan. I got a 2003 in Brazil World Cup. Then 2004 in America, I got second place in the open division in the Pan American, almost won. 2008, I won two gold medals, weight and open weight in Japan, in the Asian. And I won the Abu Dhabi trials here as well in 2009. So I won all the Abu Dhabi trials. Like to January, I went to Abu Dhabi. I lost there in the finals, but I won the trials for Australasian. And the other ones here, we have what? We have lots of national champions. Pan Pacific champions have lots too. So we have lots of champions there. And now it's funny because, like in every sport, there's a phase you have everybody up there, and then there's a lack of champions for a bit, and then these guys are training, go up there. So it's like waves, right? It's hard to keep all the champions all the time. So have the champions and have the guys that are down here. Then until these guys here to that level, so we have a phase where you don't have many champions, then you go champions again and down again. And like we said before, there's lots of people with talent, but the ones who stay, the proportion for black belts, the last time I saw, I think was 1 for 1,000. I don't know if it's better now, but yeah, 1 in 1,000 people.
It is something that I swore to myself, and I will do it one day. Before I die, I will be a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
That's it.
Like 20 years. I'm doing this. I'm in my 21st year of martial art, jiu-jitsu, MMA. I should be a black belt twice over. So, but I'm still a blue belt.
Well, but fix your hip and come back.
But that's what I intend to do, because genuinely, the year I was doing jiu-jitsu again, I couldn't do much. I knew my hip was getting bad. It's way worse now. But even getting smashed, even getting beat, I didn't care. It was just, I like jiu-jitsu because you can make it ego fueled. You can really focus on, oh, he beat me, or you can just make it about yourself. You know, for me, what I done was when I went on my back, my goal was get off my back. That's it. I don't care if I get tapped out. I don't care how many times he taps me out. I need to figure out a way of getting off my back. And if I got off my back and he put me straight back on my back, I didn't care, because for me it was just like, I'd done that. I set out a goal, and I used technique, and I got there, and that was something for me. It was an intrinsic goal for me that because I knew my limitations. To be able to do that against the full-bodied guy who was maybe a purple belt, for me, that was like winning a gold medal. I was like happy days, and I went away from that class on a high. And that's what I think people need to understand. I think when you get to a point in your martial art career and you allow yourself to forget about the ego and forget about being tapped and not care about being tapped, it opens up something in your mind. It's like moving yoga. It's like moving meditation. Yeah. You know, at that moment, there's nothing else matters when you're grappling except what you're doing there and now, not the move before. No, you're maybe thinking of a couple moves after. You maybe you're planning what route you can take depending on what he does. But you're forgetting about everything in the past. You forget about any of your troubles. Yes. You forget about your girlfriend fighting with you. It's just there and then, and it relieves pressure. I think everyone. I would love the rest of the world to take the United Arab Emirates idea of introducing jiu-jitsu to kids in the school, because the amount of depression, the amount of inconfidence, the lack of confidence kids have these days, like it just builds fortitude and builds like self-esteem within the kids. It's massive. It's something that's really lacking in the schooling system today, I think. Do you ever think Australia is going to have that, where it will be part of the school curriculum?
Well, we have some gyms. We had our gym as well in Chinatown. We had some schools come to do. They call us, we'd like to do a session for the kids and self-defense. Or some schools also, there are some schools that normally private schools, they have the initiative because they have the money to pay the instructor, they have the initiative to do them like weekly, bring the kids and do some exercise and stuff. Yeah, this is the beginning. But I think a big thing in Australia is about the sport. You know, like jiu-jitsu is more seen as a sport, as a way to people exercise or to get fit or to even compete and everything else. But there's not one different thing from Australia. It's not good or bad, actually. I think it's good, but there's no need of self-defense as much as in Ireland, as in Brazil, as in, I don't know, some other places. You know, it's always it's a different mindset, because here you go out in the street 3 a.m. and fall drunk on the grass with your wallet, your mobile, or your watch on your wrist, and wake up the same way. You know, in other countries, you fall drunk, you wake up naked. And
in Brazil, that doesn't happen in Brazil.
Yeah, so that's it. So in Brazil, you really need it. And I think that's why it really developed, because we need it. So as a kid, you have fights in school, you have people try to mug you sometimes when you walk to home. So really need it. But in Australia, it's growing a lot. So our last competition on 2019 was December 2019. Last year, there's no competitions at all because of this COVID stuff. So we had 1,200 competitors. That was just the local competition.
1,200 people?
Yeah. Then in the Pan Pacific, we had the Pan Pacific, the biggest one. Remember, we went there in Melbourne. I think now the last one, I competed in 2019 again in the Pan Pacific there. And I think I don't know if it was 3,000 or 4,000 people in the competition.
Do you remember? Yeah. I remember the Pan Pacific. I fought this guy and I tapped him out, and I just jumped up going, "Fuck yeah!" screaming. And then I went in to compete against his mate, and his mate must have been pissed off, and he tapped me out in about 2 seconds. He broke my arm, and I was like, "Fuck." I was thinking, I've got a photograph of me with my arm up going, yeah, thinking of his dog's dick. And then he just got my ass kicked. That was a good trip.
I think, and just to have a reference, I think the World Championship now, I don't know if it's 20,000 competitors or something like that. It's 5 days. But the biggest one is interesting too. The biggest competition nowadays is not even the World Championship, it's the Masters, World Masters. It's in Las Vegas and goes through 4 days. And there's people from everywhere around the world. It's the biggest one.
What are you seeing? Much of a crossover from jiu-jitsu to MMA? Are there any, or is it 2 separate entities now?
Well, I think every MMA fighter has to do, because in the past was like this. You are a jiu-jitsu fighter and you train other things to go MMA. You are a boxing fighter and you train other things. A wrestler, you train other things. Nowadays, I think the kids, because they are trained since the early age, so they train everything already. So when they get to 20 years old, they are good in jiu-jitsu, in boxing, wrestling, judo, in, whatever, Muay Thai. So I think is like fundamental for MMA. You have to know jiu-jitsu, you have to know wrestling, you have to have a stand-up. So if you are, and today also MMA is a career, right? So like jiu-jitsu, you can start thinking about when you are a teenager, when you are 13 years old, you can think, oh, I'm going to be an MMA fighter. So you have all those years from 13 to 18, 20, or even before they already started to get good in everything. In the past, you were jiu-jitsu black belt. Okay, now I'm going to fight MMA. Okay, so I have to learn some punches and some other things. So it's very different. So I think jiu-jitsu is compulsory, and everybody knows for MMA. Even McGregor now was a brown belt and was a champion. I don't know, it must be still training. He must be a black belt now. So everybody knows they need it. Also, they need some takedowns and they need some strikes. But I think became a bit separate because you can do jiu-jitsu without MMA.
Yeah.
You cannot do MMA without jiu-jitsu, but you can do jiu-jitsu. So let's say the big majority of MMA gyms, like MMA, just to train to MMA, they have a jiu-jitsu instructor because they know they have to have it. Now the jiu-jitsu gyms grew a lot separate. Jiu-jitsu grew a lot separate. In the past, and if you remember in the past, like in the 80s and 90s, MMA was to prove yourself and to prove your martial arts was better than the other.
Yeah.
Right. So we train, the jiu-jitsu guys train a lot of jiu-jitsu, grab the guy, take down, choke. The boxers or the Muay Thai guys try to stay standing so it was not crossed. But nowadays, everybody trains everything. So MMA is very specific training and not for everyone. I think MMA gyms, we tried before with MMA class in our gym, and people come. Okay, first month we have 50 students. Second month we have 20. Third month we have 10. Fourth month maybe 3 or 4, because the thing is tough, and it's hard to learn jiu-jitsu to get with everything else. So have to learn a little bit this, a little bit that. So have to be very disciplined. Nowadays, MMA fighters are very disciplined. You cannot be an MMA fighter without discipline.
Yeah, MMA fighters are athletes now. Talking of MMA, I remember about 2002, I was watching this show called Real Heroes.
Yeah, it's George. Yeah,
it's
my instructor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up, because I can remember watching. I used to watch these religiously. I was Valet Tudo, and because back when I was doing MMA, it was cage fighting over here, and myself and Davey and a couple of others, Greg Lochran and Thomas Duff and Leo, we learned our grappling through Grappling Magazine and VHS tapes that we ordered from America to watch. And so the Real Heroes was one of these shows we would watch and we think it was amazing. And I always remember George refereeing it. And then I went over to you and I was like, I know that guy's face. And then I was like, fuck, that's George. It's such a small community. Do you still see that in Brazil, that type of underground MMA, or has it just moved completely mainstream in Brazil?
Well, just a notice, on the first one, George used the Roots shirt because he had a Roots shirt written no rules, so he put it on. Yeah, what happens is that was the idea of Heroes George had, because MMA became so full of rules that took out the reality thing from it, right?
Did George create? Huh? Was George the creator of it? Was it?
Yeah, he created. Yeah.
Oh wait, I didn't know that. I just that was George's own.
No, it's his show. He created, because what happened was after he fought in America, he fought in Brazil, has big record, was Brazilian champion heavyweight 2 times, and MMA in São Paulo. He beat everyone in 2 years. I think was 96, 97, 95, 96, whatever. He had many fights there. MMA, even Vale Tudo with all the globes. If you go to YouTube or something, you can watch many of these fights. And then when MMA, he became a bit. He stopped his career, and then after he saw MMA, in his opinion, and I agree, MMA became too full of rules. So it's 5 minutes rounds, his globes, his weight limit, and it's a sport, became a sport, right? But it started to get away from reality. And what Vale Tudo was like, you have no time limit. So whatever happens there, you have to keep going. So that's not a guy who takes lots of steroids and go there for 5 minutes and recover in 1 minute, go back there full on again. You have to pace your fight. You have the real fight, so you can kick your head You can hit the back of your neck. You can elbow. You can headbutt. You can do everything. So that's what's going to happen in a fight, in a fight in the street. So he thought about, okay, I'm going to bring back the old times of Vale Tudo, when the Hélio Gracie, when Rickson Gracie, when the Gracies were in Brazil fighting, and all the challenge for their students as well. So he thought about a show like that. No time limit, no gloves, and very few rules, like the just gentleman rules. No kick the balls, no eye gouge, no bite, no manipulate the fingers. The rest is all good. And then he created a show. So the first one, if you see, the first one was in a park, on a court in a park. You put the mats on a park, and the fights start in the park. And then the second one, they start to get more professional in there until they get the cage, placed in a cage, and it was underground. Like, that's a story. It was underground, and they had, I think, 14 or 13 in 1 year. And the idea was keep going. But what happened was, because it was underground, the same what happened to me here when I put the cage in the stage, there was no rules in favor in law. There was not outlaw, because there's not a law about it, right? So he could do it if he had all the things in place, like the place and the certificates or whatever it is. He could do it, because there was not a rule written in Brazil. You cannot do fights in a warehouse. He still can. So if everything's legal. So then they had this for 14 episodes, and was a full-on, very successful all around the world. He was selling the internet, he was doing everything. And then even the press in Brazil went against, it's underground fighting, it's illegal. I said, no, it's not illegal. We have everything right, it's not illegal. Where's the rule? Where's the law? Show us the law and we stop. And then they did it. He wants to bring it back now. He's trying to get some sponsor to bring back, because it was a good show, a real show, and lots of people around the world just love it. He came to here. He went to New Zealand one time he came here with his family. He went to New Zealand to watch a haka show. No, the Maoris doing the haka dance, and the guys in the haka stopped the haka and recognized him. He said, man, it was a sitting watching, and then the guys finished the haka, stopped everything, and say, we have here the presence of Master Jorge Pereira, the creator of Rio Heroes, and everybody came to get autograph. The Maoris, the big Maoris, came autograph from him. I said, it's funny.
He's a coral belt now, isn't he?
Huh? He's a coral belt now, yes.
Coral belt?
Yes, coral belt.
Red belt's been retired, hasn't it?
The what?
Red belt. You can't be red belt anymore since Hélio died.
No, you can't. No, you can. You still can be red belt. What happened? They just regulate the times of each belt, so you can be red belt. You can be red belt up to the ninth dan, but nobody can get the 10th dan in red belt anymore. Just the founders was Hélio Gracie and Carlos Gracie were the only ones. Even Rickson and Horion is red belt now. Helson Gracie is red belt now. The sons of Hélio Gracie. But they can just go to the red belt 9, 10. You cannot go the 10th dan.
Of all the jiu-jitsu fighters and competitors, coaches and instructors, who was the greatest, in your opinion, without offending anyone?
The greatest.
The greatest. Who, in your opinion, was the greatest ever?
In total jiu-jitsu, I think Rickson's the best.
Rickson, his brain, the way he thinks about jiu-jitsu, or what made him the greatest? Yeah,
his brain. Because he's relaxed. A guy one time asking on one of those fights he did in Japan, and the reporter came to him, Rickson, but what are you expecting from the fight? What's your plan? He said, I don't have a plan. I just take what the guy gives to me. So he's just like, he does yoga and all these things, of course, but he's just surf as well to clean, but he's just just open mind. The mind is empty, so whatever comes, it takes. And of course, he has the big advantage of first learning since he was born, right? So he was born in the mats and Hélio Gracie and everything else. He has the talent, he has the ability, he has the complexion of his body, like he's not too heavy, he's not too light, he's flexible, but he's strong as well. So he has all the whole package. Like Pelé, he had all the package. Pelé used to kick the ball from right and left. So it doesn't matter where the ball comes, he get the ball. Like, I don't know, Michael Jordan, like these kinds. Huh?
Rickson's the one in choke, isn't it? Rickson's choke.
The one in choke, yes.
That wee Korean dude, that Chinese dude, he fought the Asian guy. In the end, the fight, Jesus, he took some beating from that big lad first, didn't he? That was a battering session. I was meant to say
the Japanese guy he's the president of the federation there in Japan, but he lost the sight from that fight.
Did he?
For his fight. Yeah, he doesn't have. He's blind of one eye. The guy kicked his eye. and he kept going the competition until
He
the final.
was a tough bastard. I like the
Tough bastard. Yuki Nakai is the little guy. Yuki Nakai. What happened? Hickson talked about it. Hickson said, "Look, I respect the guy on end because Hickson doesn't punch him because he came to fight Hickson. He didn't punch Hickson. Hickson didn't punch back, but he just went for submission. He saw he was already with the eye popped out, so he said, I don't need to punch the guys to win, or I can win
He reminded me of Sakuraba. Do you know,
yes.
just that toughness, that just never give up, and just when you think he's out, you're like, referee, stop that fight, and he just kept going. We were talking about Rio Heroes there. There was a fight in Rio Heroes I watched, actually. It must have been about 6 months ago on YouTube. Some girl in it, she beat the 7 shades of shite out of this guy. Oh my God. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it shows you, but that to me, that just shows you, and I've experienced it from a girlfriend here, my fiance, who's not even doing jiu-jitsu, just a few things. Like, it doesn't matter what weight you are, it doesn't matter what sex you are. It's about talent and skill and like understanding. Chrissy, do you remember Chrissy was when I was there? Christy, the girl.
Yes.
Curly.
Yes, Gracie, very good.
I
Yes.
hated. Oh my God, I hated grappling her because I'm a pressure fighter. I like to lie on top of you and use my weight. And her limbs would just find the smallest gap and her knee would be through and you'd be like, fuck. And then that's when you were ego. Like that's when I was MMA fighter and I was ego and I was like, I am not tapping from a girl. There's no way a girl's gonna tap me. And you were like, fuck, I'm gonna tap. And then you had to tap and you were like, oh, I'm scundered.
No, they're tough. You see this girl like the lioness now, the UFC champion, or Amanda Nunes with the Brazilian girl. She just she can fight the guys. That girl can fight the guys. Put her in the light division, the guys, the feather division, whatever it is. She's gonna give them the hard time. Did
you see the guy that was maybe 2 years ago or something? The guy who tried to rob the MMA fighter, the female MMA fighter, and his face is just battered. He got his balls kicked in, and his mugshot, he's just standing there, and his like eyes out here, and his lips out here, and he tried to rob her.
That's true. Yeah.
It's something that I've got 2 daughters, so I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and to me, because of my knowledge, I'm always going to teach them, and it's something that every woman. It sounds terrible, but like. The rape position, if a woman's going to be attacked and raped, like the guard is the place to be,
yes.
You want to know it. And I think that's why it should be compulsory in schools because, girls need to learn this stuff because it's a big bad world out there and women are taken advantage of regardless of how much we've moved on in society. There is that element of male chauvinisticness where they will attack women. And I don't understand why jiu-jitsu is not used more often to show women how they can defend themselves because it is a gentle art. It's something that keeps you fit, keeps you lean, keeps you mobile, keeps you strong, and teaches you skills and confidence.
I think we had experience here with Philippa, right? Philippa was teaching. Now she's not teaching anymore, but she was teaching for many years. And every time we had her teaching in the gym, comes lot more girls to train. I think that there is something to do with the contact because the girls, let's say, your fiance doesn't want to go in a gym, and wrestle with another guy. They feel that in their mind. So I think a female only class taught by a female is very important to have. But we don't have as many females yet. In America, they have lots now. In Brazil, they have lots now. But let's say in Australia, in Europe, there's not many females yet teaching. But I think that gives them more like they relax more and come, okay, I'm going to just train with girls, so it'll be okay. And what happens is, that's the funny part. They start training with girls in the girls only class. And half of them, after 6 months, they say, oh, the girls are too soft. I want to go to the men's class.
That's brilliant.
No, that's good. That's perfect because now they lost that first impact, that contact thing. Okay. But now I can fight. So instead of fight the girls are weak, I'm going to try myself with the men. And most of them, when they come to the mixed classes, they stay because they feel more challenged, and they are good on it. It's not that the guys don't best, they are good on it.
I think it was Philippa. Don't quote me on this. It could be wrong, but if something in my head says Philippa. But when I first went to, I love Philippa. She's such a lovely woman. Like she's the nicest, friendliest girl in the world. And I remember I had never grappled with a girl before. And I didn't know where to put my hands. I'm pretty sure it was Philippa. But she just grabbed my hand and went, it's a tit, get over it. And then grappled. She put my hand, because I didn't, I was like going, fuck her. And she just went, it's a tit, get over it. And I was like, right, okay. And from that moment, I was like, all right, okay, it's not, And that made me feel at ease because I was always going, Jesus, how do you grapple against a girl? It's, you know,
Yes.
you were scared of dominating. I was stupid to think that because Philippa beat the head clean off me. She is strong.
Yeah, I always tell the guys and the girls, of course, when they are in the class, this story in Brazil. We were training with George. I was a blue belt, and there was Maria. It was a beautiful girl, a blonde, Brazilian beautiful girl, you can imagine, blue belt as well. And then every time happened. So we train and everything, it comes a new guy, right? It comes a new guy, one of those a bit bigger guys and cocky, and you're going to try jiu-jitsu. And George, our first time, he does for 1 week. He learns the basics and stuff. And then when the first time he's going to grapple, he comes to the guy, oh, man, you could go with Maria. And the guy look, oh, fuck, that's a hot girl. I go with Maria. And he goes in Maria's guard. He goes straight to Maria's guard, right? Maria was good, had a good guard. So Maria closed the guard. And the guy, of course, not think about jiu-jitsu anymore, think about being between the legs of Maria. That was his last thought. The last thing he does for the next 5 minutes is step and scream and cry, whatever it is, and be choked out and be tapped on the arm and crack. Next day he comes back. George, hey man, oh cool, you go with Maria. No, I'm sorry, I don't want to go with Maria. I want to go with the big guy there.
Have you noticed, the one thing I did notice, and maybe you can elaborate on a bit more, was when I was doing jiu-jitsu with you, closed guard was it was popular, it was what it was. And now it seems, when I went back to it, it seems to be closed guard is almost shunned upon, and it's open guard. It's very attack oriented. 2005, yes. It was very defensive, close everyone in, do collar chokes, from tight in. Now it's like very much open. The game has just evolved to a different level.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, one thing I think jiu-jitsu, because the thing in jiu-jitsu is not close. No, it's not like I don't know. Let's say another martial art that you have just that amount of punch, you cannot get out from those punches because it doesn't work. Jiu-jitsu is very open to create, and tell the guys, creativity is one of the main points. Creativity and try. So if you create something, if you have imagination, jiu-jitsu, you can create a position that works, and that's part of jiu-jitsu. So every time the guy invents one guard, someone else invents. So the guard works for a while, and someone invents a way to pass that guard, and then you have to invent something else. So it's always evolving. And the speed of the evolution now, I think, is amazing. And the internet's very responsible for that, because you can see competitions, you can see, you have tutorials, training, you have techniques, you have everything. So get the information and practice that. And like you said, in the past, you used to have the magazines, right? The magazines from America, and go through it and go the techniques. Now in the internet, you go like 10 times faster. So I think the internet's very responsible for that. And also because jiu-jitsu is all over the world now. So there's people training jiu-jitsu in Japan, and in Brazil, and in Ireland, and in Australia, and in Africa. So the amount of people training, the amount of information makes it run faster. So you invent something today that works, and tomorrow a guy invents something to counter that. They keep going up. So exponential. So the speed is crazy. And the evolution is open guard because you can move better. On the closed guard, you are limited to the close, because if you open your legs, then you are in danger. Now the development happened, like when you open the legs and step on the guy, you have 2,000 variations of moves. So it became very hard, much harder for the guy on top.
When did you see the evolution go from this to that? What year do you think it started?
I think about 2010, 2012.
Yeah. And do you ever see it stopping? Do you ever see a time?
No, I don't, because no, and also because what happened, a big thing happened, and there is even a way, some people in jiu-jitsu that want to go to the back old style, because jiu-jitsu in the beginning was together with self-defense, and came MMA still together, and then now start to do this. So there's a way that is the self-defense, and the old way like for defend your life or save yourself, and the other way is the competition. So it's going like to veterans like karate or other martial arts that create too many styles. So there is the sport jiu-jitsu now, they call, that's gi and no gi, and there is the self-defense jiu-jitsu, and there is the other jiu-jitsu. So like Hickson and George and I have the same opinion. Jiu-jitsu has to think about yourself, defend yourself. Oh, but what about the sport? The sport's a good side of it. You can have it. You can have all these spinning things in around, but you always have to have in your gym at least one day for self-defense, one day that things really work. Because if you open let's say you have a street fight, you fall on the floor, and you open your leg and start to spin too much, the guy just stomp on your head. You know, so that's one very important part of that. This sports side of jiu-jitsu is losing these fighting martial arts essence. Becomes too much sport. So it's beautiful, it's good because it grows, because it has more like kids and more people can do it without danger of getting hurt or just, you know, like, and of course development for sports is always nice. But they always have to remember that's a martial art. So we have to learn the martial arts side of it too.
You basically answered my next question, because I was going to ask you, what's your opinion? Because I seen things like, was it donkey guard and stuff like that, these people sitting on their ass and shimmying over. It seemed to me, that's ruining the art. I understand. It's like judo. Judo's went from, you know, no leg grabs and all, because it's more dynamic for the sport. But do you not think it's also diluting the art as an art?
Yes.
Do you not think there needs to be a balance somewhere? Like, can you ever see a time when the Jiu-Jitsu Federation will introduce new rules to prevent the art from disappearing, or do you think it's going to be new rules and the art will disappear?
No, I think the art will stay, but the sport's going to grow totally apart of it. So you're going to have guys, let's say, nowadays you already have it. You have black belt nowadays that cannot fight in the street. They're going to be bashed.
That's what I'm going to ask.
In the past, it happened. When a black belt, just like George said the other day in one of his videos on the internet, black belt has to be untouchable. And in my time, black belt was untouchable. You touch the black belt, you have problems. You know, nowadays
I remember. Do you remember the last night of my second? Remember when I went over? Remember the time I popped my knee with Philip? Remember I wrecked my knee with 2 days into the training? And for people watching this, I went over 7 weeks training in Australia. Day 2, popped the MCL in my leg and was torn. Couldn't train the rest of the weeks. I was raging. But I remember the last night we were in the Bondi, not the Bondi Hotel, Beach Road Hotel.
Beach Road Hotel, yeah.
A fucking some guy, the 3-4 big fucking rugby players, and you're like, hey, what the fuck you doing? And I'm looking, going, Paulo, there's fucking 2 of us. There's about 20. And you've just got these demonic guys. And I was going, he's actually going to do this. He's going to fucking try to fight these 5 fellas, and I'm going to get my cunt knocked in here because of this bastard. I remember that, and then we got thrown out, and I was raging. I remember that night so clearly. I was just going, oh Jesus, I'm going to get my balls rolled here, this rocket. You just had that, and that's the reason I'm thinking that is because you're old school jiu-jitsu, and that's what I'm wondering. Like your black belts will probably have your ethos ingrained in them, but there will come a point where obviously these guys are not going to have like your direct contact with you, and the sport is going to take on. And do you not? I'm worried about because I'm very traditional. I like the martial art side of it. I like the martial arts side as opposed to the sports side. Are you never worried that the sports side is going to take on so much? The likes of you, the old school, the old gangster guys are going to be gone, and in their place is just going to be like a sport, because the money's in the sport, isn't that, as opposed to the martial art? Are you never worried about the fact that maybe this could go 20 years, 30 years down the line? That
Yes, I worry about that, but I know that you still have people keeping the martial arts side on it, and because necessary, because let's say a country like Brazil, if you just go sports side, you're going to be bashing the next street, next corner. So you have to learn the martial arts. So this is going to keep it. But I think it's not just a problem of jiu-jitsu, it's a problem of the society. You know, the society in general. They're going softer, they're going more like, I don't know, everybody has a camera and want to film you because, you know, like you cannot say anything. And all these things, not like society pressure. So there were, but wait a minute, you're not happy with a less violent world? Yes, I'm very happy if there's no violence anymore. Like not people dying with hunger in Africa or anywhere else, not people dying with, I don't know, murders in Brazil or in whatever else. I'm very happy with a no violent world, but that's not real. You know, more the world develop, more poverty is in, more violent it's going to be. Of course, the rich countries like Switzerland and Australia and these, I live here this everywhere, every day. When I came to Australia, I said, what the fuck is this? This is Disneyland. You know? Yeah, it's Disneyland. I can leave my car open, I can leave my door open, I can leave my fucking phone on the table, I forget my wallet in somewhere, and I go back there, it's still there. What the fuck is this? You know, I was not used to it. I grew up like you in Ireland. I grew up like take care of myself, you know, watching out and being used to sometimes, anytime things go crazy. And here they'll never go crazy. Still, 20 years after, still the door is open, the car is open, the ATM is like anywhere. You just go at 3 in the morning, the ATM, take money, nobody's watching you. I still like a bit impressed, you know, but I think that's the way the ideal world, but doesn't happen. So what I try to pass, and that's you said, oh, when I'm gone, will my students do the same? I don't know, maybe not, but there always will be someone looking for the, so I don't think it will disappear. But about jiu-jitsu, and it's already separate like this. There's the survival, the martial arts side, and that's the sports side. So people want to be, nowadays, I see black belts there. I come to them, man, what happens if someone grab your girlfriend bum in the nightclub and tell you a dickhead, you're going to take your girlfriend, you're going to do what? Okay, please, and pay a drink to him. That's what you're going to do. If a guy slap your head, the guy punch your face, and you're knocked out, what are you going to do? You're going to cry? Call the police, take your phone and film him. Oh, he's punching me. You're going to punch you again and take your phone. Oh, bro, that's not like that. Oh, it's like that. You have to be ready. But yes, but the rest of your question, I think the martial arts side is getting smaller and the sports side is getting bigger because of society. It's everything. It's not just it's normal life, like my kids in school. When my kids go to school, I train them every day, 3 times a week in the gym, and all the other kids there. I say, guys, look, I always put the bully situation on Friday or on Saturday classes. I have the gloves there. I put the gloves in one kid, one punch, the other one take down. No, that's the bully situation. The bully gonna push you. The bully gonna bash you. The bully gonna keep going. So you have to go. But what should we do? The parents are watching outside. What should we do? Should we choke them out? I said, no, don't choke them out. What should we do? Oh, we should take them down and hold them down, you know? And then another kid, one of my boys, the boys there asked his friend he's about 10 years old last year in school. He had a problem, right? The boy went to fight him. And he fought the boy, they started the fight, grabbed the boy, took him down, mount, hold him down, said, stop the fight, stop the fight. The boy said, yeah, okay, stop. They stood up. Josh, this student of mine, turned around, the boy punched him from behind. I said, well, you did almost everything right, but when you will leave, you never turn your back. You face the guy and walk backwards, and then you train that. You know, so things happens, and he learned. So that's exactly that's the side what I want to do. And then after if they grow up and they become like soft people and don't want to, like use it, don't use it, but at least you know. But I think the martial arts side is very, very important and have to be kept, and it's not being kept for most of the gyms. Not like Thiago left Roots, right? He opened another gym there, and then his students call me like last month. Oh, Paulo, how is this? This is Felipe. One should I know him? Yes, go for it.
Just had to let the dog out there. He's sitting there looking to go to the toilet.
There he is.
No, he's just at the toilet. So tell me, yes, Paulo.
No, but let me tell you this. So the guy
ahead,
called me, Paulo, what's happening? Paulo, good, oh, good. Oh, Paulo, I have something to talk to you. What's it? Oh, we have a guy. He sent me the video after. We have a guy from our gym. He's a blue belt. He was in mainly surfing, and some Australian guys want to fight him. And every time now he goes, the guys pick on him. And so what's the problem? He's not a blue belt. He should fight the guys. Oh no, but he's a bit concerned, a bit afraid. He doesn't want to fight the guys. Why he doesn't want to fight the guys? Oh, because he doesn't know what to do. That's what the fuck you a blue belt. You don't know what to do? Take the guy down, mount him, and punch his head off. Or choke him, or get his arm or something. No, but we don't train self-defense. We don't know our training there is just competition. I said, no, what the fuck? So you're going to become a black belt? You're going to be behaving the same? Oh, could you do some privates and stuff? Yeah, we could do some privates. Like, oh, how should we train? Well, get the glove and punch the hell out of him and tell him to defend himself. So get used to be punched, get used to the rough times, and you're going to fight anyone. And then, okay, we'll talk to you.
See, that's exactly a prime example I'm talking about. There's so many people doing jiu-jitsu, but they're not doing jiu-jitsu. They're doing sport.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're just going there to play around and spin the bum on the floor. Yeah.
They do fan arm bars and do the Bolarona, whatever you call these new moves. There's no real focus on like position before submission type of thing. Now it's all like attack. Whereas in the real situation, you want to control the guy. You want to be heavy on him. You want to make sure his limbs aren't moving and he can't punch you.
Exactly.
They're all small skills that I think are being lost. I've seen it because of like the background I've came from. I've always I've got a natural trying to hurt someone. Like when when I'm on top, I want to hurt, I want to cause pain, I want to cause distraction through pain so I can get another move. But like it's now very soft and relaxed, and it's fast as hell. And like, you know, you get these guys with flexible hips that just fly in the arm bars.
Yeah.
But there's no
That's
real...
the point. Like the real jiu-jitsu, now our logo. Real jiu-jitsu.
Here, by the way, I hope you're going to send me over a t-shirt. My t-shirts are all ruined.
Yeah, I will. We have now I put underneath real jiu-jitsu, because not every jiu-jitsu is real anymore. You know, like some jiu-jitsu are just fancy jiu-jitsu. They could use fancy jiu-jitsu, ballerina jiu-jitsu, whatever for the names. Yeah. Because I even tell them, look, ballerinas are tougher than you guys. Because ballerinas, have a look at the foot of the ballerina. They fucking hurt that foot because they train very hard, you know? And you guys are just want soft training here and just take your photos for the Instagram and that's it with the gi. So no, yeah, so that's it. So I think even if the sport's developing very fast, I think still have people there doing the basics, because not everybody's that flexible, not everybody's that this, but jiu-jitsu has to be for everyone. So everyone has to know the basics, and then you decide what you're going to do. So yeah, so I think we will disappear a bit, but not totally.
How many black belts have you got under you now?
Huh?
How many black belts? How many black belts are under you now? Directly under you?
No, directly under me, I don't have many. Maybe I have 10, 12.
10, 12, but then you've got all the Roberts and all their boys have got black belts.
Yeah, so then they have their black belts and stuff. But in Roots, we must have, I don't know, maybe 50, maybe 70, including the Korean ones.
That can only do that. Like, that's amazing. When I think about it, like when I was there, they had you. Thiago wasn't black belt then.
No, nobody, just me. It
was just you, yeah. Who was the guy that came over from Brazil, and he was like world champion, brown belt, and all different, and he couldn't speak English, but the only word he could say was tap. And I remember because what he would do, he would just be 6 moves ahead of you, and before he tapped you out, he would just say, "Hey, tap," and then I go, "What? Tap?" He would call it tap. And me and Luke Luke and I just looked at each other. We were like, "Oh fuck, here we go again." And he'd be like, "Boom, boom, 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 tap," and like, "Ah," and then boom, 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 tap. Ah! It was phenomenal. But like, I can't fathom what it'd be like to have 70 black belts to be able to grapple with. Like the white belt level must be insane. The white belt level must be equal to a blue belt when I was training. You know,
I'm talking 70 black belt, including Korea, including Macedonia.
Already, yeah.
You know, WDS. But sometimes here we have, because some of them also stop training. Some of them, like Tim Ritchie and all the guys, got the other things in life.
Him get a black belt? Did Tim Ritchie get a black belt, did he?
Yeah, he got it some years ago. And then he traveled around the world. Now he lives in Byron Bay, so I don't think he's training anymore. But yeah, he got a black belt. Most of the older guys got a black belt. Some of them stopped. Some of them came back. So we have Brad, we have Ivan still training. We have all these guys, the old generation
training. Is Ivan still training, is he?
Yeah. Ivan's still training. And Brad's still training. Brad's the funniest one, but still training.
Brad was broken when I was there. How long is he a black belt? He was brown belt when I was there.
Yeah, he wasn't the first one. Him, Fabio.
Fabio.
Rob.
I haven't spoken to Fabio in years.
Yeah, Fabio's leaving the Gold Coast now. But who else? All the guys were there. Like he's still training. Some most who stopped. I think maybe 3 or 4 stopped, but the rest of them come now and then or come. Brad is opening a new gym now in Avalon again. He was in Neutral Bay, that old gym had. Now he moved to Avalon, so it's another beach close to here. Everybody's training. Yeah, people train for fun. Now this time they come and train for fun. Ivan had a trouble in the bus the other day. The bus, whatever it was, and he just did I cannot tell this, but I will. He was in front of the camera, and he took the guy behind the bus and just went hard on the guy. What the fuck you want to fight? And the guy chicken out.
My biggest regret is not seeing it through. It is. I look back at myself and I go, I wasted so many years. I could have been a black belt. I could have been one of the first black belts in Ireland. Do you know, I could have been up there with the first black belts in Ireland, but I'm stupidly just let myself just talk.
Yeah, but you did other things. No, that's what I mean. It happened to people. Like sometimes they want to train, but then life comes around and they had to work days, or they do something else, or they go to a place there's no jiu-jitsu, or some different things happen and they stop and then they come back later. We have guys now that don't train for, I don't know, 10 years and so, and then they come back, even white or blue belts, they come back, oh, okay, they wouldn't start training again, and come back, train again, just because they had kids, because they had a job somewhere, or this or that or that, and then they come for the fun of it, and then they develop again.
And you tell me, are you still going out to Indonesia for your week holiday on the boat to go surfing?
Did you watch that? Did you watch that? The boat thing, the boat almost fight in the YouTube?
No.
Yeah, someone filmed one day. We went there, and there was a trouble with another guy. I jumped on the front. Have you seen the? Of course, you've seen the Planet of the Apes, the first one, the new version. And you know the bad guy who got locked in the spaceship in the end.
Yeah.
The bad monkey. Yeah. So like that, and he always jumped like like that. Then I jumped from the boat in the water on top of the guy.
I remember you telling me about stories about you going surfing in Brazil, and someone cut you off, and you would swim to the shore, and you would just wait there and go, "Hey, come on, fight you now."
No, crazy times. It still happens sometimes. People think the surfing is very quiet and relaxed, and everybody's zen and wait for the waves and look at the sunrise. But things go crazy. Surfing is an aggressive area. People like fight each other, scream, and drop into the shoulder. And it's not very easy.
Have you calmed down? Have you calmed down any? Are you still as crazy?
Sometimes there's some fights here, but Australians are very soft. They don't want to fight. They want to talk, and they don't fight. But we have some. I still going the boat. I still going to Indonesia. I went to Maldives, to Fiji. Good thing about Australia is very close to this Pacific region here, Pacific Islands. So just travel around, and Pacific and Indic as well. So in Indian Ocean one side, Pacific on the other. So the flights are cheap and the places are amazing. So lots of tropical islands here. So as soon as open again, every year I go once or twice to Bali and to all the Indonesian islands, and also sometimes Fiji. 2 years ago I went to Maldives. First time I went to the Maldives, and it's amazing. Like good waves, good food. It's all just paradise place.
Were you a professional surfer, were you?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in the long time in Brazil. Yeah.
How long were you professionally surfing for?
I was amateur for 6 years and professional for almost 5 years, 4 to 5 years. But the other times, those times in the beginning of the 90s, end of 80s, beginning of the 90s, people, like many Brazilians, they have the money to come out and surf in the world circuit because it was very expensive, tickets and everything. So the national circuit was very strong, but was just in Brazil. So like not many guys, 1 or 2 guys used to go to Hawaii sometimes to compete, or to South Africa, but most the national competition was very strong. And the proof of that now, because now the world champion is Brazilian, the world champion last year was Brazilian, so they call the Brazilian Storm. That's what the new generation of Brazilians who took over the world championship. So now all the top 5, 4 Brazilian. So the new generation learn from us, and from that time in Brazil get very strong and then start to come out, because now it's easier and cheaper to get out from the country, right? So so it's much better.
How often are you surfing these days? Fun. Are you surfing these days much? Are you? Or are you more?
Yeah, I've been surfing. We live here close to the beach. The beach is just about 5 minutes walk down the hill. So been surfing 2-3 times a week. It's good because to recover the injuries, to get in the salt water, to refresh. In winter, it's a bit cold, not as cold as there, but it's a bit cold. But I have the wetsuit, so just go there and go for a surf.
In the summer, I wear a 5 mil wetsuit over here. I remember you coming over here to do the seminar and when I owned Fight Academy Ireland, and you had to borrow a pair of socks. You were so cold. It was May. We were all walking about in t-shirts, and you were like, "Fuck me, Paul." With coats and hats and everything.
It was crazy. Yeah.
It was crazy. I had Leon there, and I had Jackson. Come here. I had the old dog. Let me see this dog now. Come here. Oh, I've got this boy now, Jackson. Hey.
What's up, Jackson? I remember Jackson. The old one you had. Remember? I remember the old one, the first one, the white and black. Yeah. He's still there. He's still alive. He's 14, 13 now. Yeah. He's old. And I'd say he's got maybe a few months left. I'll be heartbroken when he goes. Yeah. But this is the new guy. But okay, listen, cool. Paulo, we'll call it there. That was a good hour and a half talking, mate. It was absolutely brilliant to catch up with you again. I miss talking to you. I actually must do this more often, just for the sake of talking to you. It'd be great to catch up with you again. Yeah, I mean, let's do it. That was amazing. And it's good to get like all those comments you do, or the things the posts you put in the internet. I just laugh about it. I like it, love it. I haven't changed.
Do you know what I do want to tell? Because I didn't talk about this, but I do want to tell the story about, because it's massive how it's funny how life works out. But when I was in Australia, and I've already talked about this, but I'll tell it because we're on recording now. When I was in Australia, I was 2 days away from leaving Australia, and I was sitting there looking at the Bronte Herald or the Bondi Herald, whatever it was, and I was like I literally was about to go up and book my flight home because I had no money, and the last page was, I seen this, hey, you want to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? And I just was like, fuck. And I ran from Warner's Avenue up the Hakoa Club, which is about a quarter of a mile up a hill. And I sprinted up and I ran up the stairs all the way up the top. And I got there and I was like, hey, are you doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? And you were like, is he talking English? What the fuck's he talking about? And I'm going, and then I'm saying to the guy, is he talking English? What's he talking about? And the two of us were talking. But I said to you, and I'll finish, I think it's the perfect way to finish. Jiu-Jitsu is an international language because we couldn't understand each other. No one understood me. But as soon as we were on the mats, it was like, it was an international, you knew exactly what it was. And for me, that is what Jiu-Jitsu is. It's like, it's like a way to communicate with anyone, no matter what the language. It's beautiful.
And and then just to finish as well, that's the thing about Jiu-Jitsu. Is like, it's not just the martial arts, not just go there and fight and go home. Like, because Craig came from the Gracie family, you know, when they developed, and there was a family, and the family feeling is the same, you know, like for kids, if the kids come, it's then like family, if the adults come, the women, whoever, it's like family. So you don't want to just teach the guy and the guy pay you and it's a service. You never see it as a service. You see, of course, it's a service, but it's not a secret like that. It's a family, like, is everybody welcome, everybody. If you behave properly, you're going to be happy. If you behave wrong, you're going to get bashed. So that's only that, you know, so you just go there and make a link. And I want one story to say, to finish as well, like there was, in that times of Sakuraba and these guys, the Japanese, lots of Japanese were going to Brazil to train Jiu-Jitsu, to learn the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it's different than Brazilian, and then the Japanese. And then they arrived there, and one of them said they went to a gym to train, right? About 5, 6 Japanese guys. And then black belt Jiu-Jitsu Japanese. And then when they finish, you know, when we form to bow, everybody forming and finish the class in bow. And then after, in Japan, they said, look, in Japan we bow, we don't touch the master. The master is there, we are here, and we just go home. Here, we were very impressed of the heartwarming feeling, because after you bow, you go there and shake hands and hug everyone. And that was the difference.
The big loop, everyone takes it.
Everybody goes around.
I tell you what, Paulo, as a credit to yourself, it shows you what you've built, because I haven't been in Australia since 2007. I went back for 6 weeks, but I haven't been there since 2005. And here we are, we're talking away like we haven't seen each other yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
I talked to Dave O'Brien. I was talking to Eleni. I talked to Luke. You've built something that, when you talk about Roots, his family, you have built something that is family, because 15 years later, 16 years later, and I still classify you as mate. I still tell people Paulo's my instructor. You know, I still classify when I go to my jiu-jitsu club, I wear my Roots gi, because Roots is it's my roots for jiu-jitsu. So Paulo,
okay, cool. I'll send you a new gi then.
Paulo, I want to thank you so much. That was one of the best conversations I've had in a long time. I really appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, and keep going. This podcast fits you perfectly. Keep talking, because you like to talk, so just keep it on.
I will, mate. And I'll get you back on another time. Don't you worry. It'll be brilliant.
All right, man. Let's talk.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay,
See you
good
soon.
to see you, man.
Bye.